Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good day to all our listeners. Welcome to IKIMfm and thank you for joining us in another episode of Man and Nature, where we reflect on the relationship between human beings, knowledge, ethics, nature, and the well-being of society. Today, we will be discussing a very timely topic, which is AI driven future, transformative environmental management. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is now becoming part of many aspects of our daily life. It influences how we work, communicate, learn, make decisions, and even how we respond to environmental challenges. In the field of environmental management, AI may help us understand complex data, predict risk, monitor pollution, manage our very own natural resources, and respond more effectively to climate related disaster. But while AI brings many possibilities, it also raises important questions for us. How do we use this technology wisely? Can AI help us to protect the environment without creating new environmental burden? How do we ensure that technology serves human well-being, justice, and responsibility? To help us to explore this topic today, we are honored to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Yong Jie, or more warmly known as Dr. Jacky, all the way online from Kyoto University of Advanced Science, Japan. Welcome, Dr. Jacky. Thank you for being with us today. How are you in Kyoto, Japan?
Thank you so much, Dr. Zul, for the kind introduction. Yeah, nowadays it's getting hotter and warmer in Japan. So I think it seems like I'm going back to Malaysia.
So it's going to be a wonderful spring, hopefully, inshallah. So, Dr. Jacky, to begin, could you, for the benefits of the listeners, introduce yourself and share a little bit about your area of expertise as well as your current research related to AI and environmental management at Kyoto University of Advanced Science?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zul. So for the benefits of the audience as well. So before I begin, I would like to also take this opportunity to claim that actually Dr. Zul is also my senior, my senpai back in Kyoto University. So I was unable, by the time I enrolled, I think he's already the big senpai. So he already graduated, but we keep the good connections after that. Still, even though we had the senpai and kohai, or we call the senior juniors relationship from that. So coming back to the main question. So in my research field, I actually working across two main fields, the environmental management and AI modeling, as well as the prediction. One of the major issues that we are facing nowadays, especially in the developing countries and also in the Southeast Asia, is the insufficient number of the environmental monitoring stations. Without sufficient monitoring infrastructures, it becomes very challenging for us to actually to see or to access the reliable environmental data, which can lead to ineffective environmental management and decision making. Therefore, our team integrates few things: the remote sensing data, the IoT sensors, and GIS technologies with the assistance of the AI to improve environmental monitoring and disaster prevention. We also apply these technologies to climate change simulations as well as the prediction analysis to support more sustainable and resilient environmental management systems especially in the Southeast Asia region. Yeah, that's the things that we are working on right now.
Amazing, Dr. Jacky. That is a very helpful introduction. It might help our listeners to understand your academic background and how your work connects artificial intelligence with real environmental challenges. So the main challenges now is not many monitoring stations in order to provide all of us reliable data and convincing data in order for us to react, right? It is so many people hear about AI nowadays, but how exactly can artificial intelligence help solve environmental challenges, Dr. Jacky?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. I think recently, especially in the last few years, we are overwhelmed by the word AI, artificial intelligence. I mean, the word AI is just everywhere, just literally everywhere. In our daily life, even for example, when I went back to Malaysia, my uncle at the age of 78, he was telling me, oh, AI now is very important. AI is something that is very crucial for our daily life and everything. So it shows that how uh, important AI is currently now, and actually how it emerged or actually be part of our life. It's not something that is so far away. So back in maybe 1990s or anything, we usually use AI only for the sake of academia world. We don't really use it for the actual application. But actually in the last 10 years, the industry giants actually they are starting to consider to use the AI, and anyone who has the skill of AI will be prioritized to be enrolled to the industries. And nowadays, especially for the giants, if you want to go into the big company like Google, Petronas, or anything, I believe having the background of the AI will be very, very helpful. And back to the questions regarding to the environmental side. So there are a lot of the application nowadays we are having for the environmental management. So for example, one of the easiest thing that we can see is check your weather forecast. So weather forecast system is one of the simplest way that we can see how or what might be happening in the next few hours. So for example, is it going to be raining? Is it going to be a storm or something like that? So we can base on that to tell that, oh, what should I be wearing? What should I be bringing to our daily life? And to a more deeper context. So for example, when we say about environmental monitoring, how does it help? So nowadays we are having a lot of the sensors installed maybe around the rivers or maybe for the air quality and etc. So this kind of the sensors, sometimes we are having some errors. We call it either the technical errors or maybe some of the extreme value errors. So this might be caused by the computational or maybe because of the hardware of the system, because it's been too old or maybe there was no maintenance being done. So all these data, sometimes it may not be very reliable. And with the help or the assistance of the AI, it can alert us saying that this maybe is something that is abnormal because it just appeared for a short time. So maybe we can ignore it or maybe we can delete the data. However, when the data keeps on showing in a longer term, then the AI will be actually capturing it and telling that, oh, you should be aware. This is something that is really happening now. And maybe we need to take a better action. And maybe we need to do something more in order to prevent it to become being worse or anything. So this is the thing that I think that the applications of the AI, especially in the world of environmental monitoring and management.
So, Jackie, when you mentioned that AI helps in order to collect data and detect patterns, does it also help in analyzing and making predictions based on the environmental data, or we still need like real scientists like you and me to decide? So AI, is it like merely assistant, or it also involved in decision making?
Thank you so much, Zul. So now we are moving to the era of AI for the generative AI, where they're actually able to generate new ideas or new knowledge based on what we are inputting to them. They are able to do it, for example, to create a new knowledge. So it's compared to the conventional AI that we are using. So the AI nowadays are able to make a smarter choice or maybe a smarter decision. However, in my opinion, as the graduate from the environmental science and engineering students, we know that actually environmental science is not something just based on the data. So we have a lot of the data analysis and saying that, oh, this might be happening. However, this one requires a lot of the expertise or a lot of the experience to tell that what is the real meaning of the data. So I agree that it helps in the data analysis because it can help us to compile or to analyze a big amount or the huge amount of the data set. However, in my opinion, if you want to make any decision making or maybe to make a step or to consult to the government or anything, I believe that our expertise is still something that is necessary to make sure we are doing a right or a better decision. I always say that AI is always a tool. that is helping us to make things better. But it should not be used as the main decision-making tool for especially when we are planning to do something for the government or maybe for the policy formulation, etc. So yeah, these are the things that I think is very, very crucial for us nowadays.
So that is a very useful explanation. So AI can be helpful, but it is also still a tool to help us to decide and to move forward in our environmental responsibility. Next, Dr. Jacky, what are some practical examples where AI is already transforming our environmental management today?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zul. So nowadays, like I shared just now, I think one of the easiest way to say is actually the weather forecast. That one is actually the most important thing. And also, we have been reading a lot of the report from the IPCC saying that the climate change may be happening now and actually is really happening, and what may be actually getting worse in the future. For example, by the year of 2050 or the end of the 21st century, something worse might be actually waiting for us. So all these data or all these simulations are actually always coming from the huge amount of the data or the historical data, and then we are trying to input them considering different scenario. For example, if we are just using it as a business as usual, for example, no improvement is being done, then we don't care, just as it is. Then what might be happening in the year of 2050 or maybe 2000, by the end of the 21st century. So these are the things that I think we are commonly using it for the AI application, especially for the climate change simulation. This is one. And based on this kind of data, it's very helpful, especially for us, the scientists. We are saying that what will it be actually for the next few years, or which region that it might be actually impacted by the climate change at a very, very hard rate. So this kind of data is especially crucial because nowadays we are facing not only the climate change, but also the food security. These things are actually somehow correlated. And if the climate change is getting worse and worse, what can the farmers do? They can't do much because they are actually basing on the climate, especially for their agricultural products. So it links. For example, when we are able to produce or to predict the data for the climate change, it also helps in other fields. For example, in the agricultural field, to say that, oh, maybe you need to change your crop type, or maybe you need to change the way that you are planting from the conventional way to a more smart way. For example, by using the greenhouse. So these are some of the ideas. And also in the other field, for example, the one that we are working more on, the water quality management. So nowadays, there are so many different options that we are evaluating the water quality by using the sensors, by using the chemicals. And now, from the picture itself, we are able to tell that how is the water quality. So for example, there are some groups in the Stanford University, they actually developed some ideas from just taking the pictures of the water bodies. They are able to tell the turbidity and maybe the number of the E. coli or coliform bacteria inside the water. So this is how AI can help us to make things faster, better, and cheaper. So I think these are the few areas that I think which are very, very benefited actually with the aid of the AI nowadays.
That's very interesting, Dr. Jacky. Dear listeners of IKIMfm, you are currently listening to Man and Nature. Today we are speaking with Associate Professor Dr. Yong Jie, also known as Dr. Jacky from Kyoto University of Advanced Science, Japan, on the topic AI-driven future, transformative environmental management. We have just discussed Dr. Jacky's background of research, how AI can help address environmental challenges, and some practical examples of AI in environmental management. After this, we will explore how AI may support environmental solutions in Malaysia and Japan, particularly in relation to climate change adaptation, flood prediction, and disaster management. Stay with us. Thank you.
عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه أيضا أن ناسا من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قالوا للنبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: يا رسول الله، ذهب أهل الدثور بالأجور، يصلون كما نصلي ويصومون كما نصوم ويتصدقون بفضول أموالهم. قال: أوليس قد جعل الله لكم ما تصدقون؟ إن بكل تسبيحة صدقة، وكل تكبيرة صدقة، وكل تحميدة صدقة، وكل تهليلة صدقة، وأمر بالمعروف صدقة، ونهي عن منكر صدقة، وفي بضع أحدكم صدقة. قالوا: يا رسول الله، أيأتي أحدنا شهوته ويكون له فيها أجر؟ قال: أرأيتم لو وضعها في حرام أكان عليه وزر؟ فكذلك إذا وضعها في الحلال كان له أجر. رواه مسلم.
Also on the authority of Abu Zar, may Allah be pleased with him, some of the companions of the Messenger of Allah, may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, said to the Prophet, may the blessings and peace of Allah be upon him: O Messenger of Allah, the affluent have made off with the rewards. They pray as we pray, they fast as we fast, and they give away in charity the superfluity of their wealth. He said, has not Allah made things for you to give away in charity? Truly every tasbih is a charity, every takbir is a charity, every tahmid is a charity, and every tahleel is a charity. To enjoin a good action is a charity, to forbid an evil action is a charity, and in the sexual act of each of you there is a charity. They said, O Messenger of Allah, when one of us fulfills his sexual desire, will he have some reward for that? He said, do you not think that were he to act upon it unlawfully, he would be sinning? Likewise, if he has acted upon it lawfully, he will have a reward. It was related by Muslim.
Welcome back to Man and Nature. So, Dr. Jacky, the next question is about Malaysian context. So, which environmental issues could benefit the most from AI-driven solutions? And how about Japan? Are the environmental issues currently faced by Japan similar with Malaysia? Or do both countries face different environmental priorities? Can you share a bit with us?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zul. So I think as a Malaysian, I think we know that every year we are facing a very big issue. That is the flooding. So I believe that every year we are hearing that we are having floods over here and there, and then the flood is just happening every year, literally every year. Even though we have so much efforts actually being implemented by the government and etc., but still, unfortunately, we are still unable to get rid of this kind of the disaster. So this is not only happening in Malaysia, but actually throughout the whole Asia or Southeast Asia, we are happening it everywhere. One of the possibility that we are able to use the AI is actually the flood warning system. So nowadays, as I aforementioned, so we have been using the AI for the climate simulation or the weather simulation. So this kind of the weather simulation data can be very useful. For example, as we are able to know about the wind directions and also maybe the cloud condition, etc., we are able to predict that how is the rain is going to be, whether it's going to be a downpour, a very scary, or just a drizzling or anything. So this kind of information will be very useful when we are able to convert it to inform to the residents, saying that this area might be actually flooded soon. So please get ready to prepare, either to get evacuations or maybe go to somewhere that's a bit safer. So these are some of the ideas, especially in Malaysia, I think we should be actually implementing. The flood, unfortunately, is one of the worst conditions that I always hope that we can make a change. And another thing, maybe in my opinion, is maybe the landslide. During the flooding, always we are having the landslide. However, at this moment, we don't have a very good landslide risk predictions model in Malaysia. But in other countries, for example, in the Europe, they actually have implemented some ideas how to make sure that we are able to predict the landslide conditions based on the rain condition. So these are the two areas, in my opinion, that are the most crucial things that we are hoping to do with the Malaysian government. And I definitely am sure that Dr. Zul actually has been working very closely with the Malaysian government towards the disaster prevention, etc. So we hope that in the future we can collaborate in this area to make these things real practical research, not something that's only on the papers, but more practical and beneficial to the citizen. And on the other hand, maybe from the Japan side, definitely Japan also faced a lot of the flooding, but what made it worse, I think, is the earthquake. So everyone knows about the Nankai earthquake that might be happening soon. We do not know. That is the mega earthquake that might be happening in the next few years, or maybe tomorrow or something. So the scientists have been actually trying to make a lot of the predictions, especially for the earthquake warning system. So these are the things that they are a bit different compared to Malaysia context, because flooding and everything, they are having a relatively better irrigation system in Japan, and also they have a vast experience in handling the flooding issues. So even though we do have it some occasionally in Japan due to the very heavy downpour that is unescapable, but for the normal rainfall, or maybe the normal intensity of the heavy rain, is not really causing the big issue. The one that's causing the big issue is always the extreme events or the very, very extreme weather occasions. But
Thank you, Dr. Jacky. Malaysia and Japan may have a different climate, landscape, level of infrastructure, and disaster risk. But I believe that both countries face the challenge of managing the environment in this changing world. And I think AI perhaps can help in each country's response to its own local realities, while also learning and collaborating with one another. Right. Right. And how do you think AI can assist in areas such as climate change adaptation? I think you have mentioned a little bit about flood prediction previously, and you also introduced a bit about disaster management. So, how could AI be more prominent in this area in helping us?
So thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. It's not only on the flooding, but sometimes also on the extreme heat. So in Malaysia and also in Japan, nowadays, I think we always been saying that the summer, we don't call summer in Malaysia because all the time we are getting a very relatively hot temperatures because we are from the tropical side. But we can actually see that, or maybe we can experience that the summer in Japan and also the conventional temperature in Malaysia is getting a little bit higher, and it's not so common, maybe back to maybe 20 years or 30 years ago. So this is the main impacts from the climate change. So there are a lot of the scientists that they are working on alarming to you, saying that please, if your temperature is getting hotter, for example, your phone feels that it's under the hot sun, and they are working on something, then it actually immediately alert you, please go under the shield, or please be careful to get a heat stroke, etc. These are some projects I believe that is actually ongoing in Malaysia. So same goes to Japan as well. Japan actually will be also informing, for example, when it comes to the very extreme heat or maybe very hot weather, the AI will be actually helping you to tell that what are the things that you should be doing, or what are the things that you should be careful in this way. So this is one of it. And like we aforementioned, most of the time for the AI application, it's always on the side of the simulation and prediction. So this kind of the prediction and also the simulation will be very, very crucial, especially when we are telling the people what to do or what not to do. So based on the weather forecast itself, you will be advised not to go outdoor for maybe how long, or maybe wear a better or suitable clothing which blocks the UV, or wear a cap, or bring more water, and etc. So these are the things that actually happen in Japan. And I believe in Malaysia, we do have such a system. So these are the two areas, I think, when it comes to the weather adaptation or the climate adaptation, are some of the application of the AI which can assist.
Thank you, Dr. Jacky. I think that is an important point, especially when all of us currently have handheld devices with us. So it will be helpful to have that kind of warning or reminder, especially because climate related events are becoming more frequent and more intense in many parts of the world. So if AI can improve forecasting, early warning, risk mapping, and later emergency response, then it is not only a technological tool, it becomes parts of protecting our life, reducing loss, and also strengthening the community, right? However, Dr. Jackie, some people might worry that AI itself, including me as an energy researcher, that AI itself could consume a huge amount of energy. So how do we balance technological advancement with environmental sustainability? Yes, we would like AI to help us with more of our daily life, but then how to balance its energy usage? Can you comment a bit about this?
Thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. Yeah, undeniably, I think one of the issues that we are facing nowadays is actually the energy consumption of the AI system, especially for the cooling part. So I think recently, I think last year or just recently, I think the IEA just launched a report saying that the energy consumption for the AI system or the data centers is going to be doubled by next year. And the total energy consumption maybe from the data centers is maybe accumulated around 3% of the global energy consumption, which is a very scary number because we are just going to feed for the data centers, but it's actually using 3% of the global energy. So this is something that unfortunately, something that we are facing right now. So I believe that in Malaysia also recently, we also get the projects from maybe the NVIDIA, the Google, or maybe from the Amazon saying that we are going to build the data centers in Johor or maybe in Putrajaya. And I believe that it makes a lot, or it raises a lot of the concerns from the local residents and everything. Because what if the electricity is not enough? And worse, what if the water is not enough? Because a lot of the time when it's not only about the energy, but it's also regarding to the water consumption. Because you need a lot of the water for cooling or maybe for other purposes for the data centers. So there are a lot of the efforts actually being done for the cooling side. And one of the things that maybe currently the researchers that they are working on is actually not using the conventional aircon or anything to do the cooling, but they are trying to use some coolants to directly dip in the chips, for example, the AI chips or maybe the microcomputers or the data centers, so that the energy can be actually transferred more efficiently, not only using the electricity, but using the coolant themselves. And all these coolant actually, once they absorb the energy, one of the things that they are going to do is they are able to transfer the energy to the other sites, for example, for the industrial or for other purposes use. So what we are hoping is not only saying that we are reducing, but we are recycling the energy that is actually released during the consumptions of the data center, etc. So these are some of the efforts that I think that we can do.
Thank you, Dr. Jacky. I think that is a very important point where we cannot speak about AI for environmental sustainability without also asking whether AI itself is sustainable. And responsible innovation must also consider the energy cost, carbon footprint, infrastructure needs, and long-term environmental impact of the technologies that we develop and use. Dear listeners, we are still with Associate Professor Dr. Yong Jie or Dr. Jacky, all the way from Kyoto University of Advanced Science, Japan, discussing AI-driven future, transformative environmental management. Before the break, we explored on how AI may support Malaysia and Japan in responding to environmental issues. We also look at climate change adaptation, flood prediction, disaster management, and the environmental footprint of AI itself. Coming up next, we will discuss the ethical concern surrounding AI and what kind of future we should aim for when using technology to protect our environment. Do stay tuned. Thank you.
Islam puts a minimum of certain relation between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, abiding by the aqidah, doing your prayers on time, etc. And all Muslims know their obligation. And another minimum is to be just and merciful to even non-Muslims. So these minimums, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them a requirement. See, a man comes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he asks him, he said, what is needed from me? He said, you should say a shahadatain. So the man said, if I say a shahadatain and I do my prayers and I do my zakah and I fast in Ramadan, at that time Hajj was not obligated yet, and I am good to others, do I enter heavens? The Prophet ﷺ said yes. And the man said very strange thing. He said, I swear by Allah that I will not do anything more, that I will keep this minimum. The Prophet ﷺ said, I swear by Allah, if he does, he goes to heaven. So the minimum is simple, that grants you heaven. Some people are satisfied with the minimum, but the levels of heaven and paradise, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that the people in heavens look at the people that are in high places in heaven like you look today at the furthest stars. So that level is really high, and the rewards are eternal and much, much, much better than the minimum. So some people have no ambition in this life or the hereafter, so they are satisfied with the minimum. But the Prophet ﷺ taught us, if you make dua for heavens, don't ask Allah just to enter heavens. Ask Allah to be in Firdaus, the highest level of heaven. So yes, if you are satisfied with the minimum and you live a comfortable life, you don't contribute to humanity, then if you're just and merciful, you go to heavens. Now, if you do more than that, then you jump into the higher levels, which you shouldn't miss.
Welcome back, dear listeners of IKIMfm. You are still on Man and Nature, and we are still with Dr. Jacky. If you hear just now, we could hear there's a sound of it's actually alarm. It sounds like a musical note, but then that's efficient time management in Japan, where every 90 minutes the sound will appear to remind us to move to our next lecture, so that everybody doesn't really have to look at their watch, but then when the sound came, then you can move to another class. That's very interesting and very original to show that Dr. Jacky is now in Japan. So Dr. Jacky, while AI offers us many opportunities, there must also some risk or ethical concern that all of us should be aware of. So could you enlighten us a little bit about the risk or ethical concerns of AI?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zul. So actually nowadays, AI becomes something that is so easy to be used. So for example, I just give them a picture of me, myself, and I want it to convert it to become a cartoon style. For example, into the Ghibli style or anything. So this makes it to be so easy to be done. As long as just know how to do the prompt engineering, just give them a good prompt, then it will help us to generate. However, the scary part is actually like what you mentioned just now, the ethical concern. So when things are getting more convenient, it always has two sides. I always believe that. It's a double-edged sword, saying that, for example, what if someone who misuse, especially for example, our social medias, pictures or anything, to create some pictures that's not so suitable for public use. So this kind of the problem actually not started from these few years, but actually years before. We have something called the deepfake, where actually the people are using the face of the celebrities or maybe some famous people and feeding them a lot of the similar pictures of the particular artist. Then we are actually able to generate the AI version of the person themselves. So this is something that is a big concern nowadays. And for example, there are more people who are using, for example, the presidents of the different countries or the directors of the different countries saying that to create some videos that they are speaking something that is not what they have spoken. They are using these kind of the tools actually to bring down their political enemies or etc. or maybe for their industrial or players. That's why nowadays what we are trying to do, or maybe what the global AI teams trying to do, is we need to form the real new act. For example, the new law saying that what if someone who has breached this kind of the rules, what should be done? Unfortunately, we are still on the way. We are not there yet, but we are on the way. There are still a lot of ongoing discussions, and I myself also hopeful that maybe by this year or next year we can launch something that can be used actually for this kind of the purposes. If not, it will be very, very dangerous. And especially nowadays, people are just using AI tools for different uses. And to some extent, which I think is not so good. That's why I think we hope that we can do something, especially for the ethical part in the short future.
Thank you, Dr. Jacky. I think this technological guidance is a very important discussion. AI might help us in making better decision or better monitoring, but it must not replace human responsibility, amanah, moral judgment, transparency, or accountability. When AI is used in environmental management, the decisions later may affect communities, livelihood, ecosystems, and public trust. That is why ethics must remain at the center of technological progress. Finally, Dr. Jacky, what message would you like to leave with our listeners today about the future of AI in creating a more sustainable and environmentally responsible society?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. So there's a phrase that I love to use, that is AI won't be taking your job, but the people who use AI will be. Nowadays, like I say, it's not necessary for you to know inside out how to use the AI, but it is important for us to have a basic knowledge about how to use them. Nowadays, if you are not able to use the AI for making your work more effectively or more efficiently, you are not at the same par with people who are actually able to use them. So I'm here also urging everyone. So if possible, try to know a little bit more about how AI is being used, not only for the video making or not only for the image creation, but the actual application. For example, how to create some tools or maybe some applications by using some prompt engineering that are available online. So I think these are the very important things that, especially for the younger generations nowadays, not only for the entertainment purposes, but also for the research purposes or maybe more the education purposes. For I myself, I also use a lot of the AI tools, for example, how to create the application, for example, for Android or maybe for Apple phone by showing the students. I just need to key in some prompts, and then the prompts will be converting my command to make it into a programming language that can be used for the Android or maybe for the iPhone users. So these are the very, very important thing. And I think it should be started earlier. Maybe there are some countries that are actually started to include the programming classes or AI classes in their primary school or maybe in their secondary schools. I hope that one day in Malaysia ourselves, we are able to do this as well.
Thank you, Dr. Jacky, for a very thoughtful message. It reminds us that AI is a tool and we must start early in order to create new innovation in AI. And again, Dr. Jacky, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and insight with us today. Dear listeners, today's discussion reminds us that artificial intelligence is transforming the way we understand and manage the environment. It can help us analyze complex information, detect environmental risks, predict disasters, and support more informed decisions in environmental management. However, as Dr. Jacky have discussed just now, AI must be guided by wisdom and ethics as we navigate future challenges in knowledge, ethics, and human well-being. We must ensure that technology does not become an end in itself and creating new problems. So it must serve the people, protect the environment, and contribute to a more just and sustainable future. May this conversation inspire all of us to embrace knowledge wisely, to use the technology responsibly, and protect the environment for present and future generation. Thank you again for listening to Man and Nature on IKIMfm. I am Zul Ilham bin Zulkiflee Lubes. Until we meet again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Jacky, for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind invitation also. Thank you so much.